One of the principles of KAPAP is the push and pull principle, which is based also on 2 points of contact. These two things combined are very powerful for the practitioner because it gives you a lot of opportunities to manipulate and to do a lot of things that you can in the fight with these two small and simple characteristics.
When you want to apply for technique, you have to make sure that you have 2 points on the object and more. That will help you to take him out of balance and to take him down. If I take, for example, the hand, and it's no matter if you hold me, then this is the first point. I can hold him, for example, which is the same. It's no matter if you hold me or I hold him. But right now, if you hold me, that's already giving me the first point. So I have to look for the second point. The second point, for example, will be here. When I hold the second point over here, I can immediately take him down by applying for a second point. Now, if you see, I pull and I push down. That's what gives me a lot of power, that I have the leverage of 2 points to create the momentum, and I have 2 points. Of course, I can do it aggressively. Of course, I can do it with a smack and do it over here. I can do it with a more rotation for the elbow. When I get to technique, I can do it with my shoulder. I can do it from different angles, like the guy hold me like 2 hands on my neck, and I can, for example, do those things, and again, apply 2 points, one here, to take him out. Based about the T, that every human being has up T and down T. And I have to cross the T. If I do it from standing, I'll take him down. Now we try to analyze gun technique, and if you see when I do this, I don't have 2 points, I have only 1 point. When the guy pull back as retaining the gun to his hip, you back yourself to be in a danger. Sometimes even you'll see techniques that when the guy, he do this, he tried to start to hit him. This reaction of hitting immediately create a move that might again traumatic, and the bullet is stronger than you, and by even you knock him down, his finger is still here. When he go down, he'll shoot you. So when you analyze the technique, you have to judge, do I have 2 points? And for example, do I have now 2 points? I have this one and I have this one. I ask him, even I don't get deep, let's say that I'm only here, and I ask Tex to take the gun as, you see, I'm still not in a danger, but if I hold it as strong as I want, and now we start to fight, you get the problem. This is why you want 2 points. Once you have 2 points, it's easy. Try to take, easy. Once I want to create the leverage, I have already the 2 points to take it out. So when you go to judge technique, even with weapon, you have to judge, do I have 2 points? That can fail a technique. Technique can be failed. In different situations, technique will be failed. It don't mean that you cannot win a fight with the wrong technique or just a punch like this, but that's not a properly punch.
Okay, just another example, kind of a technique that combines all of them together. The push and pull, the 2 points of contact, the triangle or angle. Without getting into proper footwork or everything, we're gonna work based on the number 1 strike, the basic swing, pretty much. Block it, grab the stick. Now, this is when I actually have my first point of contact, my second point of contact. We can see 1 and 2. The second thing would be to create that triangle angle. As I manipulate, I'm changing the force from a higher triangle into a lower triangle. But you see here, it's all about a triangle angle, creating leverage. If I'm too far away, he might have the upper hand when it comes to a stronger leverage. I just bring myself in. As you can see, I create triangles, creating a stronger angle. 1 point of contact, second point of contact, and I strip it away.
We talked a little bit about takedowns from the standing. We talked a little bit about weapon, and you will see that slowly you will start to look about technique that you already maybe know, and it will help you to understand and to correct them, because now you start to see the principle. And we talked about again about the principle of the T's, and now I'm going to use the same principle of manipulate the T. One come forward, one come the other side. And what I will do, I'll put one hand over here and one hand over here, because the leg connected to the down T. And by doing this, I'll take him and do a balance displacement. How this can help us? For example, he hold me in a guillotine, and I can take him to this direction by putting those 2 points. But I already have my point, because when he guillotine me, if you see, my head is the upper point. So I have to put, for the down T, a point. And by pushing this way, again, push and pull, 2 points, and I take him out of balance.
As far as attacks, there is only so many angles that the human body can generate. You know, joints go only certain directions, kicks can go only certain directions. Let's just review some stuff that I bet most of you already know. But to break it down for the concept, because once you break it down to the basic, it's easier to learn and to maintain later on if you got the basic understanding how it works. Okay, so for example, we got the basic punches that are drawn from boxing or from Muay Thai. We got the straight jabs, and we got the right cross hand. Those are just 1, 2 down the pipe. It's a straight attack. It's on an angle. It's no angles. It goes straight to my opponent. The quickest, the shortest distance between point A, point B is a straight line, and that is exactly what I'm talking about. If I got my jab right here, I got my right cross, I also got my front kick. Those are direct attacks into my target. The other ones are going to be the circulars, coming from the side, whether it's a right hook, a left hook. The uppercuts are kind of like some uppercuts dig in, but they're also coming on a certain angle. Anything that comes from the 360 that we can block with the triangles, up triangle, down triangles, the circular attacks. If you know how to use and utilize those angles, it can work for your advantage. And let me give you the simple example that a lot of you have seen actually in UFCs. Chuck Liddell works that a lot. The straight hand versus the right circular roundhouse kick. Now, Tex here is going to throw a right kick at me from here, and I'm just going to counter it with a straight punch into the jaw area. And you see that actually proven itself very effective, but it's a very simple principle, very simple technique. He's going to throw a kick, I'm going to counter with a punch. The reason it's going to work because he's not throwing a straight kick. If he were to throw a straight kick and I would to counter it with a punch, he's going to have reach on me and distance. But since he's working on a circular motion, he needs to create an angle in order to generate the force and generate power in order to land a good impact. I will take advantage of that distance he needs to go through for me to generate a straight power punch by cutting right into his center line that you probably are familiar from different martial arts. Filipino martial arts, they'll always mention that, Kung Fu. The center line, I'm pretty much going to cut right into the center line and try to beat him to the kick in this case. Okay, so from here, so the kick, boom, straight in. Again, boom, straight in. I will absorb the impact, but you see I make a slight step forward. I'm not going to stand here, right here in the sweet spot, okay? I'm going to move right in with my punch. Also what happens, I move all my force, all my mass in behind my punch. It's not just a hand punch, it's just like a good old right hand boxing with a little bit of footwork into it. Boom, straight forward. Now Tex, if you can just stay here, you can see where my hand is almost crossing him when he didn't even fully extend his leg and generate enough power. It's almost I'm passing my target right here. Okay, so by doing that also, weapons go the same thing. If he comes in the circular motion, in a circular attack, I can block, check and block and check and intercept that attack or counter that attack. Of course, later on, I need to move and continue, but just to see, maybe if you can see from this angle, he comes on a slashing attack. That's a fatal attack right there. I need to do whatever I can to intercept it. Even if I didn't check him first, I'm still in. And again, you see a circular motion coming from the side versus a straight line attack, intercepting and exposing his center line. So It can come also from the number 2 attack, the slashing attack from here. I can intercept that, check, and come in. Because of the fact that he's coming from the side, I got the advantage of distance. He has to go for a further, much longer distance that I have in order to create, and later on I can do my thing, disengage, and move on. Okay, also going back into the angles, choosing the right angles, choosing the right weapons, whether you're empty-handed, whether you're fighting with a weapon, choosing the right weapon and choosing the right angle. Same with hands. So if I'm here with attacks, we're starting here and throwing a punch, it's going to be almost ineffective. But the range, the kicks from the range, if I'm going to throw punches, it's almost going to be not really smart for him, because the minute I close in with the punch, he's going to back me up with the kick. Okay, choosing the right tool for the right mission. If we're here, of course, we definitely end up kicking. It's almost goes straight out the window. It's almost ineffective completely. But then we got the elbows range right here, and coming up with elbows. Same thing with weaponry. If you need to take somebody in a long shot, take him out from like 500, 600, 800 yards, you're not going to shoot him with your Glock. If you're going in a house in a high-risk entry, you definitely want to pull your shotgun, your 870, or whichever handgun you got, something that's going to be for close quarters. Same here with fighting, because the bottom line is fighting. So we're going to just demonstrate, also going back to the angles, how important it is to actually combine footwork, and footwork is angles. We got triangles, we got straight lines, and we got circles. And we usually work off of the same concept of angles, straight lines, circles, and triangles. Okay, to demonstrate, we're going to start from here. What I'm going to do is throw a straight hand, and Texas is going to override it with a circular motion. Now we saw before how a straight punch defeats a circular motion. Now we're going to just look the other way around. Okay, so from here, a straight punch comes in, deflects it, comes in with an elbow. Okay, deflecting the straight line, coming over with a circular attack. Okay, the same thing. I'm going to attack with a front kick. He's going to counter, break the angle, and perform a circular counter. From this angle. Okay, you can see how he was breaking the line, breaking the concept. You have to step aside. Same like in boxing, you want to set something up, you want to set a good lever punch, you cannot throw it from the same stance you're standing in a relation to the guy in the center line. You have to break your angle, get in a good reposition, cock your body to generate the energy, and boom, let it go. Again, working on triangles, working on side to side diagonals, and working on a circular and straight motions. Okay, one of the things that goes along with the angles and choosing the right weapon, it also comes to damage control, especially when weaponry is involved. Some weapons like blades, the most commonly, most accessible weapon out there, is very unforgiving. A lot of people are living in this misconcept that they can, I can disarm this, I know how to disarm that. To disarm a blade, it's probably one of the hardest thing I ever came across. To disarm a blade, only when I got later onto Filipino martial arts, I actually found out how I personally was wrong about my whole concept of disarming a blade. Okay, so let's talk about a little bit of damage control here. We're both having a knife situation now. If I'm gonna cut Tex in a 1-for-1 attack, okay, a slice number 1 to the neck, that's a lethal cut. So let's perform it together. Okay, so a knife fight is never good, never good. Okay, so damage control, if I'm coming in, I want to break my angle and perform number 1. See what's going to happen here? I'm going to sacrifice my hands and my fingers and try to take whatever I can. Just as a basic example. Damage control, yeah, I might get stuck a little bit. For example, another stabbing motion from here, I gotta move to the side. There is no guarantee, especially if his blade is longer, that the basic scissor motion is gonna work. But then again, I might get stuck with 1/2 inch of the blade versus the whole 5.5 inch of the blade. It's all about damage control, choosing the right weapon, estimating your distance. If we're fighting from here, there is no point that I'm gonna be in a reverse grip. I wanna get, especially if his blade is longer, I wanna have as much as reach as possible. Okay, another short review. What we're going to do is also talk about the geometrical shapes of attack, very commonly known in jiu-jitsu, submission grappling. I'm sure what we're going to show is not new to most of you. Just to see how it applies. We talked about straight attack versus circular attack countering the straight attack, and then now what we're going to show is different variation of a very simple release from hold or an attempt to grab on a triangular shape, the geometrical triangular shape. Okay, so your average push or punch, one's gonna push me or just try to put a hand in order to grab my shirt. If I got enough time and my relative position is good enough, I can have my hands up to defend them. If I'm not by that time in this situation, I'm in deep trouble. So let's go back, get the hands up. I see an attack coming, like Avi was mentioning before in the T. I deflect one, come low, strike back high, and although Martin's a little taller than I am, I still can get that attack. And from here, I got a takedown. Let's do it. Let's see from this angle. I'm actually going right now. Okay, so from here, deflect, come in here, very similar, slip in a jab, come straight up, and take to the ground, and finish it right there. The triangle, as you can see, is 1, 2, and 3, right here. This is a triangular attack. You can use your neck. Some people, if you got long enough arms, you can grab your own neck from here. Different variations of grabbing the triangle. We're gonna stay on the ground now, performing the famous triangle choke. The sankaku from here, you can see he comes in a straight attack, a triangular attack, intercepting or countering a straight attack. He is choking me from the front, common position. I get him in my open guard. I try maybe to intercept him with a double-handed armbar from here. He pulls out. I set him up for the triangle. Now you can see 1, 2, and 3. I lock. So I got 1 base, 2nd base, and the 3rd base. Applying pressure, and there you have it. Okay, let's see from this angle. A straight attack coming, intercepted with a geometrical triangle classic shape. Coming from here, riding high, because I don't know, the guy might be throwing punches. I always rather have my knees in control. Later on I can trap, just in case he punches. Also, you can see the angles, a triangle right here. Okay, there is a triangle for me to defend here, a triangle to defend from there, and I'm closing the triangle. And I can attack on the top platform of it. So, stick to the drill here, going up to doubles. He, of course, counters. I set him up right into the triangle. Set the elbow up, close it, and from here, I got the classic triangle. Okay, and just to say he counters from this hand, the hand here on the other side. All I got to do from here, after he sets it up, I can change it, and I still remain in the triangle shape from here. I can do a triangle from sitting down. I can close my legs right here, and I still got a triangle base. Got an arm bar, I got a triangle, but it's in the same basic line.
Let's talk about the concept of relative position. Relative position is very important to understand before we even go to the fight, because it has many features that we need to understand before we go to the actual move. Let's say that Joe here is a threat, and I'm a person that doesn't have any interaction with Joe, and I feel threatened about Joe. Now, if I would stand in front of Joe, this is his center of line, and this is my center of line, so I'm now compromising my own safety, because if he's going to attack me now, and let's say that Joe is throwing a punch, I'm in danger now. He can get to me. But what will happen if Joe go back a little bit? And I'm just feeling that Joe is a threat, and just by moving myself from his line of attack, just moving away, I'm changing my relative position. Even without physical contact or without any compromising myself to his attack, I'm changing slowly my relative position and putting myself in a better relative position if Joe decides to attack me. That means that I can also decide to see what's behind me if I have an outlet, okay? If I have a wall behind me, and relative position goes to many lengths and many depths. And we start with the first relative position is our environment. So first of all, if I'm on the street and I see a threat from afar, I just relate to the threat or to the person that is standing that I don't feel comfortable to walk on his path, and I'm just changing my relative position even before we approach each other. Second base is if I'm already here in the fight, and now we're talking about the conflict, and Joe is standing and he's throwing punches, that won't be smart for me to stand here because I'm now fully compromised to his full force of line and center line of attack. If I'm going to change my relative position and position myself over here, already I'm in a better relative position to Joe because he's already committed to the attack, and in one sweet move I change my relative position altogether. Now I can punch Joe from this side, I can kick, and I do a lot of things to him as a damage. So my relative position will be the best either on his side or to get to his back, which I'm least vulnerable to his line of attack. He can of course come back with an elbow, but he's already committed to the attack, and I'm already here in his best position in his back, which he cannot almost not do anything, and from this position we can control the subject much easier.
We talked about the concept, relative position, and everything. Let's go talk about pretty much our physiology, what's going to happen in certain situation, areas that we do target, and we try to intercept an attack. Like you probably all know, fights in the streets is going to be different than a fight in a ring. Not so many rules. In a fight in the street, anything goes. Anything goes. Although MMA, extreme fight, you still got set of rules. Here we're going to try to attack vital points and what we call sensory points. We all have our 5 main senses, but the thing is, once you attack a sense, it's transmit the brain whatever it tells it to disengage, break contact. We don't want our senses to get damaged. Vision, smell, even taste. How taste, I'll show you in a second. But for example, from the basic choke position, now my opponent is going to choke me from here. I'm going to start by hitting the ears, okay? Coming from the circular angles into the ears. Going from there, ears got a balance of the equilibrium, the center of balance in the ear. In addition to that, he's going to start here, this really high-pitched ring in his ear. It's a lot of people get freaked out. A lot of people, they shoot without protection. They do not know how to deal with that. It can drive you nuts especially if you never experienced that before. Especially if the guy's inexperienced, he would not know how to deal with that. So circular coming from the side attack. From here later on, I got the eye, visions. Almost any person that I know if somebody would hurt my vision, I would let go immediately. Whether it's by mace, by impact, by a big flash of light, flash bang, whichever. Okay, the vision is probably the most scary sense to lose in our human body system. 1, 2, straight into the straight line attack from here. Now, also you can see that I can come from cutting the center line, hitting the face. Now here, I was mentioning before the taste. A lot of people that are not used to fighting or are not accustomed to taste blood are going to see and taste blood. The blood get this little kind of like reminding of metal taste into it. They're going to taste something foreign in their mouth. They're not used to taste, or they're tasting only in a certain time when they get hurt or injured, going to the doctor, dentist. That's going to also freak them out. So by targeting the senses from here, I'm going to create an immediate lack of interest to my opponent to continue holding me. So by doing that, most likely he will want to disengage. You can also see that just by doing that brush stroke, 1, 2 eyes and face, that I just hurt at least three main sensory senses: hearing, visual, and taste. You remember the blood that I said? A lot of people are gonna back off if they're actually gonna taste blood, let alone see blood. Working on those senses and neutralizing those senses, hurting them with enough damage, can definitely put your opponent in a very stressful situation. Some even panic, and some might not. Some people are going to be accustomed to that. It's very individual. An experienced fighter, especially a full-on cage fighter, MMA, full contact for that matter, boxer, Muay Thai guy, is not going to get so stressed out. Somebody that has been around a lot of shooting, the ringing in his ear is not going to affect them a lot. Every person is individual. We're targeting the main sensories as far as we can make the most out of them and create the most amount of damage. Okay, just to sum up what we just performed in short word, we're trying to attack the sensories, meaning that we're trying to work on the human brain, the computer, whether it's psychologically or just neutralizing it by hurting one of the sensories, as like I mentioned, vision. You'll see a lot of bodyguards, police officers, even military on deployments. The eyes, the most important sensor as far as I'm concerned. You take out the eyes, the person is pretty much incapable of doing anything. His sensory, his computer, the brain getting damaged, sending a lot of signals to back off. A lot of protections. You can see, for example, if I'm doing my detail here and I got my my Oakleys on, a lot of them today are very ballistically strong. You can be pushed like acid on the eyes. It's going to burn and everything, but it's not going to burn my eyes unless it goes through. The eyes, most important sensories. You hurt the computer, everything else fails. Also, from the non-lethal aspect of it, law enforcement today use a lot of technique just using the basic utilizing light. Okay, light and high frequencies, you can see in the cameras, pretty much what's going to do is just change the frequency of light, disorient you, and create a lot of confusing. Some people under this light, they even had studies of nauseous, vomiting, throwing up. Just using a non-lethal force, so not always we want to end up the situation with a dead person. Sometimes the situation just doesn't require lethal force. So we want to avoid that just by attacking one of the sensors and being smart about that. Using the brain, KAPAP uses the brain as the main weapon. If you can avoid a certain situation, you got to think, not just go always into the conflict. Pre-conflict, the conflict itself, you got to know your tactics, and the post-conflict, be smart about it, trying to stay out of jail, trying to know what to say and how to save your life after the conflict is over, because you can drag a lot of trouble and a lot of hardship, and it's just going to be an agonizing process. So think and use your brain and attack the other guy's brain.
Now we're going to talk about the principle of high and low. If you watch, for example, many times in a fight or Thai box fights, when we do this, I try to kick his leg. Because most of people, when they get hit down, they start to think down and defense down. That gives me a good opening for their face. It could be that also I'll go on the face to get down, or to get with the knee to the stomach. And the first thing, and again we're coming back to the first principle when we talked about the triangle, is the combat condition. Most of people cannot take a hit, and this is the problem. You must build up your body for a combat condition that I can stand like this and the guy can kick and hit me, and I can take it. And it takes years of experience to get it. And if you cannot take a kick or a punch, definitely you will not be able to take a stab. And most people forget it. They think a knife is a game, and like Uri said, the knife is one of the most difficult weapon to counter. And again, we're back to the same thing, and we mentioned the high and low principle. So once I smacked, and again, you see like what I do to his balance displacement, but also you can see because I economic of motion, I know what his motion is going to do. That's why I come over here, that I can kick his groin, for example. Now, many years ago, this technique was performed like this. And then kicking his nuts. And naturally, that's a very bad move, because when you kick somebody, he will come to your nose, and then he attack your sensory system, which is bad for you. So also when you do this, let's say that he's doing it to me, and he opened my hand like I did, from up all the way. That's where I want to be as a grappler. That's exactly where he cannot do much, and I can do a lot. Why we start with the principle? Later on you'll see how a lot of techniques that might be presented as a self-defense for real world, suddenly when you see the logic behind them, they don't work. And that's why we tried first to work with the logic and explain to you, and later on to go technique. And now we're going, for example, for technique. I go, somebody put his hand and he says, like he tried to stop me or anything. My first reaction is very natural reaction to hit his groin. He is getting hit in the groin, his reaction is to come down. So that's why economic of motion, immediately I'm here. Now it's no matter if you do this and you lose him, then you go immediately to the next move. And that's why you will see, try to hit him down, try to hit him up, have him here. Now I have only 1 point. So if he will go this way, he might change the whole scenario. But by putting it in my stomach, I'll lock it. Now we have 2 points. So now, if I want to take him this direction, I just move this way. And now you remember like about the linear, I will take him linear down and a circle to the side. So it will take him off. Now if I want, I can start to another principle of switching direction. It's the principle of shaking the person. Many times you'll see that we shake to earn leverage. So this is but if the guy even is strong, I might turn and switch again like position. And that's another principle that economic of motion, I don't fight with you. I all the time apply for a new technique. That's why it's very difficult to start to study the KAPAP gyros, but once you understand the gyro, is all the time, whenever you go, I will be in a better position that will give me better reactions for him. Right now, he cannot do much. You see, I block him, because his hand can come only this direction. Now his hand cannot do nothing. Can you punch? Can you punch? So this is why I want to climb here. This is why I want to climb here. This is why I immediately come over here and trap him. Now I have a free hand, he is not, and his hands are trapped. So it's no matter what, later on, if we take it to grappling, fighting, free fight, whatever, police work, you will see that all time the relative position will be very important. We use Stacy, and if you see, she don't have a KAPAP t-shirts because she don't belong to us. And she sit here with us in the filming. We grab her, we show her 5 times how to do a simple technique that I just showed. You grab she do this, and she do that, and throw him down. And we'll see, it's very easy to teach it, and it will work. And that's why when we put the technique at the end for civilians or for people in the school, they must be very simple at the end, but there was a lot of thinking before creating them. You saw that in a fight there is a lot of smacks and surprises, and many times there's simple drills that you can do. You don't touch, you don't smack the ear, you smack only over here. And just do not make it as a personal, it's a business. Fight is a business, it's a trade. He tried to give me up, I will block. I try to take him down, he tried to take down, I try to get up. So the drill is very simple. Right now we're not counter, he smacked me. And if you see, it can go forever, but I prefer that it will stop on him. But this is a drill that, for example, you go, and most of you, for example, will be very shocked if I smack their face. And most of my students know. Just react immediately. Nothing happened. You see, I don't bleed, I don't do anything, but most of you will be shocked. Sometimes I talk to people and immediately, see, nothing happened. And most of people will get scared, but if you get used to it, nothing happened. Of course, don't try it over here, don't try it on the eyes. But many times people, when they get, and this is why it's good to do full contact, boxing sometime, you don't take it as a person. So the guy smack you, so what? If I get scared when he smack my face, I lost the fight. Again, back to the body condition, and we keep going with the body condition, and 90% of the fight is a body condition. If you think you will not be, you will be able to fight by some kind of a magic pill, you're getting wrong, and you don't want to find it in the real fight. So to keep the body condition, for example, there's a lot of drills that many martial arts are doing. For example, I stand as an object, and he kick different. He can kick here. He can kick also from the inside. And now you go free, and also you can go body here, here. And it's a matter of levels. And for example, what I'm saying is like you don't start hard. Mostly when you're a beginner, you start very slow. So I'll show like you start very slow on the person, but very, very slow. When he became much better, you can start, for example, and you hit me only on this leg so the camera can go and go harder, go harder. And if you see I even don't block, I just try to keep my mental, I ignore it, it's nothing. It's even not a girl, come on. Strong, strong, strong. And that's the only way. You see, and I try to disrespect him. I talk a lot of bad talk to him. Come on, I don't feel you. You're like a mosquito. My grandma kicks harder. So the more he go harder, he get depressed. And I play with the moral. You don't want to come to a fight and the guy touch you and you're no emotion. If you see like when I fight, I have no emotion in my face. I can decide that I fight. Laughing, I can, there's no, those hits should not become personal. It's a business. The guy hit. See, so when I fight, immediately I'm in, and every hit just make me want to go more. How you develop this mental? You have to train for it, and train slowly and slowly and slowly and build up. But when you build up, you can go harder, full power, and nothing. Nothing. So when you fight, you're just like this. Kick. Kick. So of course I can immediately get him. And again, if you see, high and low. But if every effect on my kick here will create an opening, you get me. And that's why body condition is very important.